Hello everyone, I'm Rebecca and welcome back to my sewing room. This week we are finishing Holiday Barbie 1994 and we have to finish it this week because Comic-Con is 6 days away. So if you haven't seen my first video on this project, I am making this rather last minute for a group cosplay for Friday of Emerald City Comicon, and I committed to this when I probably definitely shouldn't have, knowing that I would basically only have the time after my Disney World trip to put this together. I did in the first video actually wind up cutting out and flatlining the skirt pieces before my trip, but everything else has happened since after the trip. And I have just put everything on for the first time, including the petticoats and hoop skirt, not including the underskirt portion because I think that's going to have its own backing, so it's not ready yet. But so I had it on without the hoops, which was the end of the last video, and I was realizing the hips just seem really tight, knowing all of the petticoats that have to go under it. So I was like, okay, crap, while I'm wearing the dress and the corset and stuff right now, let's put on the petticoats and see if it really is as tight as it looks around the hips. And it is. So, I have to fix something and I don't know what to do. So this is what's going on right here. You can see just how tight it is. It's way too tight around the hips. It should be way, way looser than this. I think the main problem is honestly coming from right here where it is attached to the center portion. So I'm kind of hoping that if I undo just this center portion and loosen that up and see where that takes me, I'm hoping that I won't have to put in like full-length panels because I don't know that I have enough gold lame for that. I'm hoping that maybe I can just put in like a tiny little gusset right here, most of which will be hidden by the fur trim. I might also shorten this, which would help hide it under the fur trim. Now, I think a lot of this, part of this, may be coming from the fact that in the actual Barbie doll, she's not wearing hoops underneath. She just has volume based on the fact that her skirt is tiny, it's doll sized, and it is lined with net. And so it's giving that stiffness and that shape. I think it's also like a circular cut. Obviously that doesn't work in a human size. So I did a lot of patterning and stuff, which is all in that first video, which will be linked down below and also up here. But I have to figure out how to fix this. So I'm gonna seam rip these little things, see if that makes it any better. Okay, so that was the answer that I needed. I mean, you can see just how far it's opened up here, but just having that opening, A, it's giving me the right shape for this skirt. It really is supposed to have a wider opening here. And B, it's not pulling at all now. So I've opened it, I've cut it up pretty much just to the waist here. So I think that means that I just had to figure out how to stick some gussets in here. Hopefully it won't be too obvious because again, I am adding the fur. I don't know yet if I want to cut this higher because I think the fur is supposed to start like right about here. On her, I feel like the fur takes up a pretty big portion of that below the waist section, and on me I had kind of measured the bottom of this to the bottom of her fur, and that was the length. So the fur I do think will take up like this much of a section as it comes around here and goes down. So I think there will only be a little sliver here that will show of this gusset. I just have to figure out how to actually make that gusset and insert it because gussets are always kind of a pain. But I'm going to take the measurement here of the distance that I need plus seam allowance and, you know, make 2 of them and get some gussets in here and get it so that the skirt actually fits correctly instead of pulling too tight around the hips. I'm glad I caught it now and not after I tried to add the fur trim because that will be one of the next things here. I'm going to do the underskirt backing first and then add the trim. So just to give an idea with the underskirt will get a little bit of gathering as it goes in right here, but pretty much this is the look. So it's very sparkly and shiny, and I think with the fur trim it's going to be so pretty. So I'm excited to get going on all of that, but yeah, I do have to figure out how to get that underskirt onto its own skirt. I wish that I could just like attach the underskirt to this, but then I would just have to figure out like how to do that without any stitches showing, and that sounds like more of a headache than I'm willing to do, and cutting out more pieces is annoying, but at least once I've actually gotten them cut, the skirt itself will be quite easy to do. So I'm gonna go cut some taffeta and make these gussets also, and I will come back later, probably once I've got the underskirt put together. So it is the next day now, and I am just back from what feels like an absolute whirlwind tour of Joann's. It wasn't just Joann's, but it did involve 2 different Joann's locations, and then it also involved a hair store, a Sally's beauty store, and the dollar store. So I got a lot of stuff for Barbie, and I'm really hoping that this will be everything that I need for Barbie, but I guess we shall see. So let me show you everything that I got, because it's a lot. First thing, at the hair store, I got a couple of Yaki braids. I wasn't sure if I needed 1 or 2, so I just got 2 just in case, because it's a bit of a trek to that store. But they are the same color, or appear to be the same color as the wig, and that way I can do the crown braid. Because, oh yeah, retracting a little bit, or retreating a little bit. So last night I was trying on this really light blonde wig as well as the darker wig, and I was liking the darker wig, but it was photographing green for some reason. So I went and I asked the other people who are in this Barbie group with me which wig they thought was better, and everyone said the light blonde wig. So I was like, great, because the light blonde wig makes my eyebrows look really dark, and I still don't know what to do about that, but I guess we will cross that bridge when we get to it. So anyway, I went and I got some Yaki braids to match that. I also got, what I'm hoping might help with how light it is, at Sally's I got this copper mousse, and it looks super dark on here, but the lady tested it for me and it is not that dark at all. And I'm hoping that I can redden the wig and the hair pieces just a little bit with this to make it more of like a strawberry blonde, which would be ideal, because really her hair is like a golden honey strawberry blonde, but not darker like that other color. So I'm hoping that this will help with that. And luckily I have the 2 Yaki braids, so I can at least test it on 1. And then at the dollar store, I got these gift bags that I'm thinking I'm going to cut her holly pieces out of these gift bags. I kind of figured that if I did them double-sided, they'd be pretty stiff enough to stand up on their own, and they're nice and shiny, like kind of metallic-y. And so I was thinking I probably could get them out of 1 just in case. I'll spend the extra $1 and get 2 matching ones. That way also, if I screw up, I have some room there. And then, okay, everything else is basically mixed in this bag. But also at the dollar store, I got these, because I already have the red beads at home from Christmas decorations, but this will give me green and gold beads for the headband. And I tested it out. If I mix 6 strands together, 2 of each strand, and wrap it all up, then that should make the width of headband that I need. And if I have to, maybe I can glue the twist together. I don't even know if I have to, but we'll see. And the other thing that I got at the dollar store, which is not meant for eyebrows, but it looks like the color that I need. I'm going to try this for eyebrows and see if I can lighten my eyebrows to like an auburn. So today, I don't think you can really tell this, but today my eyebrows are a lot redder than they normally are. They are normally darker brown. My natural hair is dark brown, and so my natural eyebrow hairs are dark brown. So they are, I feel like they're still showing that they are dark brown, and I'm hoping that this like crayon that is meant for contouring, since it is soft, will adhere to my actual brow hairs and make my eyebrows auburn like Barbie. We'll see, because if so, then I could also use this for the other 2 blonde wigs that I'll be wearing this weekend, because I'm doing Barbie, Cinderella, and Elsa all in one weekend, because I'm crazy. Okay, so now on to Joann's. So first I went to the really large Joann's that's about 20 minutes from my house, assuming that they would have everything that I needed. No, they had almost nothing that I needed. So I did from them get more of the gold sequin trim. That was my existing one. Somewhere in here is a spool of gold trim. I don't know where it is, but it looks just like this. I decided this is good enough. I'm just gonna go with it. Because what was really throwing me off was the size of those other buttons that I had tested out. They were not at all right. So you guys, I got so many button options. It's silly. Like it is truly silly how many button options I got. But I got a lot, and of course I also had to go to 2 stores to get them. But the main reason that I had to go to 2 stores was because the Federal Way Joann's did not have the fake fur. I don't even remember if I mentioned it on here, but I decided that my fake fur is just not what I needed. Also, I don't think there's enough of it. So I wanted something like a medium pile fake fur, and the Federal Way Joann's didn't have any white fake fur whatsoever. But the Renton Joann's, 30 minutes from the Federal Way Joann's and about 30 minutes from my house, had medium pile fake fur. So I got 3 yards of this. That should be plenty. Honestly, I probably only need 2, but I don't want to have to go back up there again. And since it's the only store around that carries it, who knows how long it will last. It was literally one of those ones, like, I hopped up and got it down from the overstocky shelf because it wasn't even on the regular shelf, and it had dirt stains all over it, so she wound up cutting it from the inside of the roll. I don't know how long it's been up there, but I'm going to go with a very, very long time. But I have my fur, so, and it can be ripped into strips, so I'm going to be able to just rip strips for everything that I need on the skirt, which will be brilliant. And then I also got the other pieces of the buttons. So I have like 4 different types of buttons now. I like these red ones, but they are a little smaller than what I was going for. They are 1 inch or 1 1/8 inch. I'm going for 1 1/4, so not really right. These red ones are just really, really plain. I don't love how plain they are, but they are the right size and they're already red. And then I also got, I think it's just these 2, no, yeah. I got 3 options where I could maybe paint them and make them red. So overall, I got 8 buttons with 5 different types of buttons. So 40 buttons. That's what I bought today. And I'm gonna return all the extras. So, by the way, I don't know about you, but Joann's receipts are no longer going to my email. I'm gonna have to figure out how to do a return of the stuff that I bought on Black Friday because there's 4 things from that stuff that I need to return, and I usually email myself the receipts. And the emails are not working, and I've tried 2 different emails now to like reset it up with them. Still not working. So comment down below if you are also having a problem with that. I also got green and red beads for the earrings. Naturally, I need 2 of each of these beads and had to get the whole thing. So that was obnoxious. But I think that is everything from my haul today. It was quite a lot. And now I kind of want to play with like the hair and the holly and all of the earrings, all of that other sort of stuff, and not work on like the fur trim. The one thing that I did do before I went today was I did put the gussets in. It's laying really weirdly on here right now, but I know that when it's on it will work fine. And then I also have to even this curve out a little because I just put a flat bottom and it made the curve on here be really weird. So I already marked where that has to get cut off. The other thing that I somehow didn't notice at first is that on Barbie, her skirt is completely curved in the front. It is not square. So I have to curve mine out on there as well before I can put on the fur trim. But, ooh, and there goes her stand. But yeah, so I need to curve that out and fix this shape, and then I can start adding fur trim. Though I suppose I also need to figure out the hem length before I can actually add fur trim, come to think of it. So I will do that first, which is kind of why I want to play with all of the silly little things like headbands and earrings and holly. I might do that. I will probably also tonight add the trim and stuff to here, the buttons and the gold trim, because that's going to be a lot easier to put on before I have the bulk of the fur. That fur is going to make everything more difficult. So I kind of actually want that to be like the last thing that I do, because it's just going to make everything super, super bulky. So I'm going to get to work. I will show you some of the bits and bobs that I decide as I go through with buttons and all that, but I'm excited to throw everything together. So playtest 1 has resulted in something that needs to be returned to Sally's, and hopefully that didn't destroy one of my Yaki braids, but I'm glad that I got 2 just in case, because I tried some of this mousse color stuff, and although it might look lighter on the hands of the lady in Sally's, sure doesn't look lighter on the hair that I'm using. I mean, like, I don't know how well you can, yeah, can you see that, like, basically brown red color? It's trying to focus on my face. Hopefully you can see that in there versus like up here where there isn't any. You can see how reflective it is. And down here where it's like almost brownish. Yeah, so it's awful not using that. So glad I tested it on this and not the wig, because I can't get more of the wig probably in time. So yeah, that is getting returned. That was $11. That was not useful at all. I will be returning that to Sally's. And now I need to go wash this crap off my hands, because gross, and see if it will wash out of this hairpiece so that I can restore that back to normal. The hairpiece, by the way, before I colored it, is pretty much a color match to the wig, but I kind of wish that I had gotten the textured one instead. They had two options. They had this one, which looked nice and sleek in the package, which of course was plastic, so I couldn't see how shiny it was. Pull it out of the package and it is really sleek. It's super, super shiny. So I know there is a way to de-shine fake hair. I have to remember what it is. I feel like it involves maybe like baby powder and or hairspray and or both. I don't remember, but I know I've seen it before. So that's what I'm going to have to try to do to this braid to see if it will work. Otherwise, I will just wind up pulling a braid from this for the crown braid. But I mean, this does make up into a very pretty crown braid. All I did with this was, this comes in kind of two sections like you can see here. I just twisted up both sections and twisted them together, put the rubber band back on the end, and it stays put and makes a really lovely crown braid, and I think it's just about the size that I need. So, I mean, the good news is that I only need one. I guess the bad news is that I paid $5 extra for a second, and that I may have destroyed the end of it by putting that stuff in it. So, I'm gonna go wash it out right now and move on to the next little craft. Good news, it washed right out, so now I can just leave this to dry and I'll have another yaki braid for this wig if I need one. I could also incorporate it, I guess, into extra volume so that maybe some of the shine is throughout the hair as well. That's an option, but yeah, this is back to being usable and not stained. So now I think I'm gonna try my luck at the headband. So I've actually decided to try the earrings next, which is what this trial is. I was doing a few different combinations at first with the beads that I got from Joann's. This is actually a pack of mini ornaments that I got from Target for like $3. And I was playing around with the beads with the ornaments at first, maybe doing like the red and green and a gold bead and then the big one at the bottom, and the scale was just not right at all. So this is definitely like way over scale, and it's also like really stiff, which is funny because these are just glued together. So that's what I did. Literally, they're not even glued together well, like they're not in a straight line, but all I did was I took the like wire bit that holds the top part of the ornament to the bottom part of the ornament. I took those out of the green and the gold ones, and then I just glued the little filigree topper part back on for the green and gold, and then glued that's all hot glue, by the way, glued on the top of the gold one, stuck the green on it, glued on the top of the green one, stuck the red on it, and then put a little wire dangle finding up at the top hooked through the top. And like I mean, her earrings are huge, but like her neck is also so long because, you know, Barbie. Mine is not. So I guess the part that I worry about is how close this is to my shoulder. It's super lightweight, which is awesome. And I feel like it does get the gist right. I mean, technically these are supposed to be smaller than the gold ones, but like, doesn't bother me. So I think I'm gonna make another one, and that way at least I have a backup pair of earrings if I can't figure out a better solution. But also these are probably exactly gonna match the headband, so I mean, that's a good thing too. So here we have it about 2 minutes later, and I have two matching earrings now. Super, super easy. And yeah, for now at least, I'm gonna go with this. So now I'm gonna move on to the headband. So I'm still not doing the headband, I'm instead doing the holly leaves. I created a pattern for the holly leaves out of cardboard. I'm going to cut it out of this bag, which I've kind of ruined to make it so that it's easy to cut. I'm going to cut 4 of them out, and then I'm going to put some hot glue in between the leaves, press them together, and that should be it. So I don't know if you're going to be able to see. Oh, it does show up. So I put those lines in actually using my needle nose. I just kind of rubbed them in after I glued together the leaf sides. I feel like it looks perfect. So now I just have to do 3 more of these and I'm all set. And this is the braided headband. So I just took 6 strands. At first I was going to try and do a 6-strand round braid. That did not work with the beads on here. So I just took 2 and 2 and 2, not 2 of each color, but 2 of different colors, and just braided them together in a normal 3-strand braid, rubber band at the end, and I will figure out how to incorporate it into the hair and wig later when I'm styling the wig. But that is it for tonight. Tomorrow I'm going to get back to the actual sewing of things on the dress. So it's now 2 days later. I didn't actually film at all yesterday, even though I did quite a bit of sewing. But part of that was that I was hand sewing a lot, and so hand sewing is just really, really slow for me, and it just didn't show much progress. So the hand sewing was that I sewed on all of the gold sequin trim to the front of the bodice and also to the sleeve ends. And it took me forever because I had to pin it in place all nice and smooth. Then I basted it with just really long hand sewing basting stitches. And then I actually like sewed it. I had to sew both sides, each side of each trim, so that I could actually secure it down. And I did that for this and for both cuffs. And I put on the one button, which I'm really not sure is actually center, and I have to put the rest of the buttons on, but I don't want to do that until the fur trim because I don't know how much of down here is going to get covered up. As you can see, I've also tested out a fur roll. I'm still waffling between the fur that I bought and the fur that I originally had in my stash. I don't know. I feel like they both look crappy and wrong, so that's great. And I just have to make that decision today because that has to go on today or this project is not going to go well and the next 2 days are going to be super, super stressful. And then the other thing that I did after I did the trim was that really quickly I threw together the underskirt, which you're not going to be able to see because it's under the skirt. But basically it is 3 pieces in the back. I literally took just like a big old chunk that I had. I don't know how long it was. It's not the same length as the front, but I don't care. It's under the skirt. No one's going to see it. And I cut triangles out of like the selvage edge so that it was like selvage triangle. And then this part right here on the fold, that is another triangle. So that became the center back. These 2 became the side backs. And then I just put them all together, sewed them all together really quickly, put them on a little waistband, and that was done. It still needs hooks and eyes at the waist and it needs a hem, but I have to figure out all of the hem length stuff today. The back of that is just going to get turned because it's pretty short, so it's just going to get a turned narrow hem. The front, the gold section, and then also the overskirt gold, those will actually have to get like chopped off quite a bit because I originally had intended on a wide hem, and then I realized the fur is going to go around the hem, so I don't actually want any extra with hem. So that all has to happen today. Hopefully I get all of that done and can do all of the fur trim, the hem, and the buttons, because I think that will just leave me with wig styling, I hope. So I will check back in with you later when I figure out exactly what I'm doing for all of that. Oh, by the way, I do want to just show off really quickly. I just got this sweater from Target. I'll leave a link down in the description below. And I make such a cute 1890s history bounding sweater. So very, very excited with that. And if you want it's so soft too. It does run large. This is an extra large. Usually I wear like an XXL. So just to let you know. So I realize that the hem is going to be totally out of frame for you, but I have the skirt on. The hem of the underskirt is currently pinned. Again, just that like front decorative panel section. The back, I've actually decided why even bother turning it? I could just leave it with a serged edge. It really doesn't matter because it's underneath and no one's gonna see it. And then the front of that, I'm gonna have to hand sew the hem. And that's the only bit that's gonna get like actually turned up and pressed. The part, this part, the overskirt, I have currently turned up the hem just so that it doesn't drag on the floor, but I'm actually going to be curving this whole bit out. I don't know if you can see where these pins are on here, but the pins are the shape that I'm starting with. I may wind up actually clipping more of that off too, and it's a bit nerve-wracking because of course I'm just cutting this and then like reserging that edge because it's going to get wrapped with the fur. And I'm pretty sure one of my experiments last night when I was playing around with the fur is that I'm pretty sure to get the look of hers, I'm gonna need to like pad the inside of the fur. So I think I may wind up stuffing it with fiber fill as I wrap it around. Should also help the dress stand out a bit too. Speaking of the dress standing out, this was the first time that I had put it on since I put the gussets in the front, and I put too much gusset in. So it was actually it was sticking out weirdly. So right now I just have it pinned like flat. I'm debating about top stitching, so it would be so much easier, but I know it wouldn't look as good. So I'm probably going to press this so that I know where I'm stitching. That way I can just like stitch on the press line and then stitch that down just so it's a little bit more fitted here. Still don't know curve wise. I just feel like this might need to come up a little to get the curve right for the fur, but I'm going to wait until I cut off the skirt bit so that I can see what that curve is looking like. So I'm going to take this off now. I did put a ribbon on the zipper so I could do it a little bit easier. I'm going to take it off now and cut off the bottoms of the skirts and hope that I did it right. And if not, well, it sucks to be me. I don't know how much of this you can actually see in frame. I don't really think you can see it, but I did serge the edges with that new cut. However, it's just not enough curve in the front here. So I'm going to improve the curve, or like right now it's straight and then curve. Basically, I'm going to curve it all the way down in the front here. And then also, honestly, I think I have too much train. I don't know why this whole time I've been thinking that the Barbie actually has a train, because frankly, her skirt just kind of like flips up in back. It's actually a little bit shorter right in the back, which is weird, and I'm not going to do that. But I don't think I want a train. Also, that is not a practical fur cone at all. So I am going to cut off at least to the point where like it can drag but not do an actual train, because right now I've probably got at least a good 6 inches dragging right in the center back. And yeah, probably not a good idea. So I'm going to get that off. I really like where I have the underskirt pinned and pressed to. I think that is just dandy and ready to be hand sewn, but this part, not quite right. I did redo this seam right here. I did it the right way from the inside, and it's lovely. It was exactly what I needed. So that fits perfectly now, and I just have to get the shape right. Then I can start putting on the fur, which needs to happen tonight, and I'm running out of time. So the shape of the hem is now good, and I am trying to pin on fur, and it looks like complete garbage. Garbage. Like, it's so bad. I have this stuffed with a little bit of fiber fill right now, and it still just looks like flat and bad and fake and ugly. Yeah, so I think I'm going to double check my measurement now that I've cut off a bunch of the hem. I'm hoping that I have less hem, because the issue with the fur that I already have, besides it being a totally different type of fur, which is much flatter, the main issue is that I have a lot less of it. I don't know if I have enough to do the whole hem, at least where the hem was measured before. Now that I have shortened the hem, it may be that I need less, so I'm gonna measure it again, do some math, see if it will work, and at that point I can maybe cut a strip to test with. It makes me really nervous to cut any of it, because I feel like what's gonna happen is I will wind up choosing that one, and then I will get the skirt done and almost not done, because I'll have like this much short. So I have to do a lot of math before I even think about using that one, or even like debate that it's a possibility. But this other one that I just bought looks so grabby. So let's give the old one a try. So I think I figured the fur out. Trying to get the scale of Barbie just was not working. So what I've actually done here, this is a 12-inch strip of fur, and I have just rolled it up in a roll and pinned it. And I think I'm just gonna kind of like whip the back of it to the edge of the skirt and go with that. And obviously there will need to be multiple joins around, so I'll figure out how to join them without it being too obvious. But yeah, I think that is going to be the best bet, because that looks the least obnoxious. It is the new fur that I bought, so at least that's not going to waste. And then I was also playing around with the holly leaves. I think they're, I mean, like, they definitely look right, but on me, the scale is just too big. So I need to cut these down a little. I still have to figure out the shoulder roll fur, but I know that no matter what I do for the shoulder roll fur, first off, it's probably not going to be her scale because it's ginormous. And secondly, this is going to stab me if it's that big. So I'm not going to cut it down by a ton, but I am going to cut them down by a little. And I'm probably going to nervously freehand it because living on the edge and running out of time. It's probably 10:30. Is it 10:30? Oh, it's only 9:55. Okay, I have a half hour more than I thought I did. So I am going to, luckily I can rip the strips of the fur. I'm going to rip a whole bunch more strips of the fur and start sewing it on. I've pinned on like half of this kind of, but I'm going to start sewing it on. I also marked my bottom button placement, so then I can just divide and conquer for the 6 buttons total. Sew those on, and before I take the dress off though, I do want to figure out the scale of these and of the shoulder. So I'm going to cut these down a little bit and just see. Again, I don't think it's going to be that much smaller, but like ½ an inch smaller probably is what I'm going to do with these. So, a lot to do. Okay, I think this is much better scale on the new leaves. Just for comparison, new versus old. I don't know if you can see the edges there. There you go. So I cut it down quite a bit. I've got to cut down the second pair now, but I just feel like these make much more sense, and now I can figure out the furry shoulder roll. So I think keeping this a smaller scale is again kind of going to be the best bet. What I've actually done here is I took the 12-inch wide strip, but then I folded it in half so it's a folded end down here, and then put a piece of the other fur that I had cut off, put a little strip of that like this wide, this long inside, and then rolled it up, and so it's creating a much bigger roll. And I think that that is going to be the best bet probably. And then I guess I'll sew it on from the inside like I'm going to do the trim down here. So I have a lot of hand sewing to do now that I figured all of this out. I don't know for certain how I'm going to attach the leaves. I'm going to try to sew them on. We'll see if that works. I'm really not sure. But yeah, I think I like how they're looking right there. I don't like the bend. So that's because I have them pinned right now. I think that that's what's causing the bend. And if I sew them on more at the bottom, I think they'll not bend against this. But that's what I'm going to try to do. I don't know how much hand sewing I'm going to get to tonight. I'm already really tired and I have to work tomorrow. But I only have 2 more days otherwise until Comic-Con. And I also still have to tease the wig. But I think once I put the fur on and do this stuff and tease the wig and the buttons, that's it. So, not terrible. So, I don't know how well you can see it back here, but I have actually just finished sewing on all of the fur trim all around the hem. It took me, oh my god, so long, because hand sewing is so slow. I did use a thimble. I was good. I used a thimble the whole time. But yeah, I think it took me like 4 hours-ish to sew all of that on. Basically, I did a really huge whip stitch. Frankly, it's like that movement where I went through the part of the fur that came around the back of the fabric, through the taffeta, trying to get just a little bit of the fur from the front side, like the backing of the fur from the front side, and then back through and just around and around and around like that. So, well, that's finally done. But it is now after 11 o'clock. I am going to hopefully relatively quickly curl the wig. I haven't tested it yet to see if a curling iron will do it, but that is my goal, to curl it with a curling iron and set it in clips so that it can stay until tomorrow. That way tomorrow I can give it a brush out and add the shoulder fur and holly, and then it will be done. It is now the day before I wear Barbie, so we need to get this finished. So last night I did curl the wig. I curled it using my curling iron, which I believe I showed how to do that in my Cinderella wig video, so I will link that down below. I honestly should have curled it using rollers and steam, but I don't have those big old kind of rollers. I have the little foam rollers and they would not work for this. So I didn't curl it right. we're gonna hope that this works anyway. There is a really, really great tutorial that I found online on YouTube by Online Kine about teasing wigs. It's so fantastic. I will link that down below, and I'm using his kind of methods to do this, other than the fact that I didn't have the right kind of curling mechanism. So anyway, this is what she looks like right now. Lots of bouncy curls, very different than before. Her hair is so long that they're still very, very long, which is good. And now I have to tease this. So I'm gonna make sure that she's really, really well pinned to this canvas form. If you're looking for a canvas wig form, by the way, I'll link this down below. I'm pretty sure I've already linked the wig down below in this video. If that was the last video, I will also link it down here in this video as well. But both of them are from Amazon. And I'm just going to pin around so that she has like a good base, and then I'm going to start teasing based on his method. Since this is his thing, not mine, go visit his video. I'm not going to show you exactly how I'm teasing this, also in case it goes wrong, because I should have more curl up here and I don't. So yeah, I'm hoping that this is going to work. Luckily, with this Barbie, most of her volume is lower on her head. So at the top, we've got the rope braid and then a little bit of volume, but it's down here that we really want that fluff and curl out. So hopefully I can get that reproduced, and I am going to get to it. This is always my fear with wig styling, and I swear this happens so often. So what happened was I styled the wig on the canvas head. I didn't actually wind up teasing it. I really just brushed out the curls because I started teasing it and it just got a mess. So I just mostly finger brushed, but also a little bit more, just brushed out all those individual curls to get more volume. I kind of wish there was a little more volume or like a bigger wave sort of thing, but there's I can't do really anything there. And then I went and I sewed on, of course I sewed it on, the beads and the braid, and I incorporated the braid with a little bit of the wig hair so it would blend a little bit better. But by sewing it on the wig head, and this is what always happens to me, I feel like, is that it sits completely differently on the wig head than it does on my head because, hi, this thing going on. I don't want that showing. I mean, her ears show. I can't have my ears show because hair. And then it looks like I'm wearing a really awful wig, which is what it looks like right now. So I had sewn these back edges here, the ends of the braid and the braided headband. I had sewn them kind of to the bottom of the wig, but I guess I've got a large head or something because the bottom of the wig doesn't come anywhere near down to really where it should. I mean, you can see my wig cap completely sticking out from underneath there. Now, I do not have this wig pinned currently, but yeah, it is not at all where it needs to be, and I've got my dark hair showing and everything. So I need to undo the sewing on the bottoms here and angle those more down so that I can also have some of this hair coming here as opposed to being pulled back and then coming down, because that's what's happening, is it's pulled back underneath the rope braid or behind the rope braid and headband, and then it's coming down because that's how hers is. She's a doll. She's not a person wearing a wig, so it doesn't quite function the same way. So yeah, that's annoying because I did sew it on. Luckily I did knot it in several places, so hopefully it won't be like, oh, I'm gonna undo these couple of snips, the whole thing comes undone, because that sucks, or that would suck. But yeah, this needs to get a big change, and then I'm probably just gonna pin it on my head when I go to put the wig on tomorrow, because that way I can pin it knowing where the wig is sitting on my head, which I was tempted to do in the first place with all of this. I'm glad that I sewed the top part. I do think the top looks really good, but the rest of it is not what I'm going for. This is way better. So I undid the rope braid where it's like actually attached into the hair and incorporated. I obviously couldn't move that part, but, and I don't even remember what side that's on right now, but yeah, this side. I couldn't move that part. But I moved the beads down, and more importantly, I took some of the hair that was underneath the rope braid and pulled it forward. Same with over here. Over here, I fully undid these to about like here, and they are now pinned in with bobby pins. So that's what I'm going to do tomorrow. I do feel like the wig looks less wiggy with hair in front, but then you can't see the earrings. So I don't know, I guess that's the trade-off, and I'm not sure the best way to do that. I'm tempted, when I was first playing around with the wig, I had kind of almost taken, I had front sections like this coming down, down, and then I'd almost taken them like that. I'm a little tempted to do that sort of thing because that would keep that in place but then still let the earrings show. So I may pin that up and out of the way on both sides, just like underneath like that. So that is an option as well. I wish I was tan like Barbie. I just feel so pale in this wig. Like, it is not a good color on me. I lightened my brows as much as I could. They're definitely red now, which is what hers are. She has red brows, but yeah, the skin color contrast and everything is still very different. I did a bunch of green eyeshadow, but I feel like it's not reading particularly green on camera. She has like green eyes, green eyeliner, and I think mascara, and then kind of brown eyeshadow. So I have a little brown in there as well. I don't own green eyes or green mascara, so do what I can. I think the lipstick is too dark. I'm gonna try to do a lighter shade tomorrow, a little bit brighter like hers, because I think this lipstick is too dark, and that's probably not helping. But otherwise, there's the neck up portion like that. I will obviously show you what I actually look like tomorrow too, and I'm planning to do another video that is just devoted to the con itself, but I will probably show some of the Barbie shoot tomorrow. Anyway, now that this is done, or as done as it will get, it's so frizzy. I almost feel like I should have just left it how it was to begin with. Like, oh my god, look at this hair. Yeah. Anyway, now that this part is done-ish, I still have to put the furry shoulder rolls on and the holly and buttons up here. So I need to figure that out. Part of me, I know that yesterday I was talking about like rolling it up double or whatever and then putting it on, but then I didn't know what to do with the ends. Part of me is almost wondering if I should go with a sort of a crescent shape. It's not a crescent shape, but a shape like this to make like the crescent rolls that go up on shoulders like that you see in Ren Fair stuff. So I'm thinking I might give that a try and do that oblong shape where it's smaller at the ends, and sew it together on the machine and stuff it with fiberfill and stuff, and then put it on the shoulders. So I have a lot of that fur now. I way overbought. I knew I was overbuying a little bit. Like, I knew I might have up to a yard extra. I have way more than a yard extra. So yeah, I have a lot to play with on here, which is nice, and I can go ahead and test it out and see how that oblong shape might work. You guys, I have created a monster. It is so big. I don't think I can use this. It's so big. Look at this. Oh my god, look at that. Honestly, like, if I had gotten the scale of the other fur, I maybe could have made this work. It is I can't. Oh my god. It's so ridiculous. Yeah, this isn't gonna work. This is way too big, but it's really funny. And part of me almost wants to like try it all on and actually see what it looks like on, but it's too big. Look at that. It is way too big. So yeah, I need to cut that down. The gist is right. I think that this shape is good. Like, it is kind of giving a natural curve. The seam is actually out here, but because it's fur, for the most part, like, you can't really see the seam, and where you can currently see the seam, it's because the fur has gotten stuck in it, and I can like pull that fur out of the seam where it's just kind of gotten stuck by the stitches and help to hide where that seam is. So yeah, this is the right idea, but just too big. So I cut 2 or 3 inches off of the circumference, I guess, of this, and also 1 inch off of the length, and somehow I feel like it looks almost the same. It still looks huge, but like part of me feels like the scale of this with the earrings, with the wig and everything, that it's right. And like looking at her, I feel like the scale is pretty close, but then looking at the fur on the skirt, I just feel like it's still really large. I don't know. I mean, I feel like that's still quite a bit large in comparison. So I think I'm gonna cut off a little bit more. I think the length now seems pretty good. I think so. I think the length is pretty good, but I feel like maybe the width is still a little crazy. So maybe if I just do like another inch down of width, maybe 2 inches, I think that would help. So it's really just this widest part that would wind up going away. So it's just going to be not quite so big right here in the middle, and then like the ends will stay the same, but it'll be like more like that. I think that is going to be better. So I'm going to cut it down, and while I'm at it, I might as well just cut out the other one, because I really think that cutting it down just a little bit more is going to work. I guess I won't have my travel pillows though, because I mean, as it is, it's a little small. That first one probably would have made a really good travel pillow, but luckily the con is, you know, 40 minutes away, so I'll be okay. And I'm gonna go make the other one now. The fur is on and the holly is on. The holly I wound up hand sewing underneath where the buttons are. This one I wound up having to do several stitches because it just didn't feel like it was laying right. But the hollies are on, and then the little red button, that is actually just hot glued on. So I just did a bunch of really, really large whip stitches on the inside, catching the underside of the fur, and hopefully that will work. I kind of tried it on after I had done just one of them to see if it would work, not with my corset and everything like that, but just like put the dress on, hook it in the back underneath the wig, and it looked good. So then I did the other one in the same placement, and hopefully it's gonna be good. I'm going to go ahead and try it all on right now to make sure that I'm ready for tomorrow. Okay, so I started to put this on, and then I realized how hilarious this was, and I figured I would show you how hilarious it is to try to put this on, because of course I already had the wig on. Tomorrow when I get dressed, I'm gonna be doing the wig last. At least that is my plan. That's normally what I do. But right now what I have is a giant mass of hair and eye gougers right here. And then of course giant puffs on the shoulders. So I need to somehow get the hook. Oh my God. Oh no, and the sequin's getting stuck in the hair. How do I get this? I need to get, okay. I need to get the hook and hook the hook. Maybe? Oh, come on. I'm like inhaling my hair. Ugh. There we go. Okay, hook is done. So now, oh no. What does Rapunzel do, I tell you? So now I should be able, I've got that ribbon on the zipper. Hopefully I can do that nicely. But of course it always wants to hang up around the waist because it's an invisible zipper, and that's just like their job. Is they don't like to play nicely at the waist. Okay, maybe if I try from around. Okay, got the ribbon. Oh no, don't lose the ribbon. Okay. No, it's stuck on something. What's it stuck on? I think it's stuck on my sleeve. It does not want, does it? Come on. Okay, I gotta get past the waist first. We can do this. Oh. Did we get past the waist? Or are we stuck on something? Okay, we're past the waist. Okay. Aha! It's on! And the hair's on. So I just need to not be tangled and put this on. A couple of you had really good suggestions about doing little loops for the bra straps. I honestly don't know that I have time to do that since it is like 9:40 and I still have stuff that I need to do for the other days of the con. And also I feel bad because my patrons are not getting a video tonight, probably because I normally release a video to my patrons at midnight. And oh, by the way, you're probably not getting a video this Saturday either because I'm going to a con tomorrow. Anyway, It's on. I haven't looked in the mirror yet. I hope it looks good. I feel like these are different angles, but it is on. Oh, I like it. These are really weird, but I do like it. And I think that I really got Barbie. So yay. I'm really excited for tomorrow. Hello everyone. We have just arrived kind of at Comic-Con. We have arrived out of the Comic-Con parking garage, or the parking garage that we found, and have to find the actual building. But we are here, and I've got Barbie with me. I'm all decked out in my new Barbie dress. And we are going to go find the actual Comic-Con and get our vaccine check wristband things and find the rest of the group, and it's gonna be so much fun. So I'm taking you along today with me to all of Emerald City Comicon so that you can see everything that's going on at this con. And I'm super excited. We'll be here 3 days. Today's Friday. We're gonna be here again on Saturday where I'll be Cinderella in the cosplay competition. And then Sunday, I'm planning on trotting out Elsa for a different cosplay competition. So I'm super excited. This is actually the only con that I've ever been to. I've only ever been to Emerald City. So I'm probably like a little spoiled in that regard. I've heard it's one of the best in the country. And I'm just really excited to take you along with me. So I will see you very soon when we actually get into the con itself. We're here at Emerald City Comicon, and I am in my Barbie finest. And of course, I brought my Barbie with me as an accessory so that everyone can see us together. I'm super excited to meet up with all of the other Barbies later for our photo shoot. I can't wait to see everyone's costumes all together, and I will make sure to take you with me. Barbie shoot and everyone looks so amazing. I have hopefully gotten enough footage with the help of Rachel of everyone, but you can see everyone behind. We did a group shot and now we're doing by decade. So we did a 90s shot. They're doing 2000s over there right now. Then there'll be 2010s. Everyone looks so amazing. It's so exciting to be in a group this big. It's just so much fun. So I will see you again later. It has been such a wonderful Comic-Con doing this Barbie dress. I am so thrilled with how it came out. It was honestly everything that I wanted, and I'm so happy with it. We got such great reactions everywhere. Truly wonderful. And it is the end of the day now, so I'm going to go ahead and close out this video. Thank you all so much for joining me today for this project. I do hope that you enjoyed the video. If you like this video, please go ahead and click the thumbs up icon, and if you'd like to see more videos like this from me, please go ahead and click subscribe and the little bell icon to be notified every time I post a new video. I do post videos here on YouTube twice a week, with my sewing vlogs like this out on Tuesdays and other costuming content out on Saturdays, but I post every day over on my Instagram, so please go follow me on Instagram. That's at Lady Rebecca Fashions. And if you'd like to help support all of the work that I do on this channel, I do have a link to my Patreon and my Ko-fi down in the description below. I'd also like to give a special shout out to my Guardian level patrons, Sharon and Julie. Thank you all so much for joining me today. Have a wonderful week, and I will see you very soon in my next video. Happy sewing!